We are back.
We're back again.
It's been a while.
We had to figure out how we were going to record.
It's been so long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had to figure out, okay, how do we do these again?
Yeah. How do we want to set it up?
Well, we're excited to share with you guys and catch you guys up on everything that we've been doing.
Yeah. So first things first, as you can tell, we're in a new room, in a new space.
In a whole new space.
We are still buying things, figuring out how we want to set up rooms and all of that. But we bought a house. We bought our first home, which is a condo. We're living in Midtown Phoenix, which is exciting.
Yep.
And it's been like such a miracle of how God helped us get this place. I'll give you the condensed version. Essentially, Cliff Note version is it's stressful buying a house anyway. And people always tell me that, but I never knew it. Like I knew it once we were in the process and doing all the paperwork and getting all the financial records and all that stuff. And the whole time you think like, is this going to work out? I'm not sure if this is going to work out. I don't know how we're going to do this. But God was just showing up and showing out every step of the way. And probably the biggest miracle that happened was because we were staying on top of our paperwork so much, our loan officer had said, hey, like you're a few days early than when we were supposed to close on the account. And my colleague has said, if you want to go ahead and close today, we can close today. And so we had been trying to get home buying grants because a lot of our friends were telling us, if it's your first time buying a home, like there's so many grants out there for first time home buyers. And we kept hitting walls the whole process. But anyways, we come to this closing day. And I was talking to Kendall, and you said, yeah, let's go ahead and close today. So it's like I told her, let's close today. And lo and behold, the home buying grant was available that day and that day only because the day we were supposed to close, it wasn't available that day. So had we waited just a few days later, we wouldn't have gotten the first time home buying grant, which was awesome because we had put several $1,000s down in earnest money to start the process. And because we got the grant, lo and behold, we got all that money back. And that was a blessing too, because there were some renovations we wanted to do in the kitchen, which you'll see in the pictures. I'll try to link the pictures in the email. But it was just such a blessing to be able to do all of that. And while you talk about like the friends and stuff from Neighborhood, that helped us out too.
Yeah, it was great getting a lot of the renovations done by friends from ours at Neighborhood Ministries. Both the people I work with, Tanya and Fonzie, their siblings actually were the ones to help make this space what it is. Tanya's brother Frank helped paint it every single room. And then Fonzie's brother Jose did all of the renovations, renovating the living room and the kitchen and kind of making this space what it is today, which feels so homey.
Yeah. And to tell the story of like how we renovated it and what's the story of our decorations and all of that. Essentially, I knew being married to Kendall thus far for almost 2 years, going on 2 years, which is crazy to say. But Kendall is a very intentional human being.
I think so.
Yes, where he doesn't just like things just because, and he doesn't just like decorations that are just up that look good. Like it has to have meaning and purpose and intention, and that's something he can get behind. And so I knew, like, okay, I learned that lesson in our apartment, but I knew with this home, it had to be a whole like story and intentionality and all that type of stuff. And so I was proposing this idea of what if we paint each room the different colors of the earth. We are in our green room here, which represents the leaves of trees. We have our kitchen and dining and living area, which is blue like the ocean. And then our bedroom is like brown like the roots and the bark of a tree. And the story that we're telling as you move throughout our condo is the story of our ancestors. Yeah. And so we created this story of the ocean obviously represents how they got here to America, the post-Atlantic slave trade. Moving into this room is about actually the formation, the different activists and people that have formed us. And so we want to
like the leaves, right, from the tree
that produce fruit. And so we have, you can't see all of them, but we have several pieces of art up of activists, and we want to put more up and also more plants in here on some of our shelves and things. In the kitchen, I forgot this part, is it goes from the ocean into the sun, which is white, and there's actually a light up top that looks like the sun, because the table and that experience of sharing bread, breaking bread with people, is the sunlight, is where we build relationships with one another.
Love it.
And so I just think that that's really cool. And then as you go into our bedroom, which we've only really painted it and gotten the furniture kind of where we wanted, but there's more that we want to do when it comes to the roots. And so that's where we want to highlight our ancestry even more, and where we come from, our family, parents, siblings, great-grandparents, and all of those things. And then the bathrooms, we'd like to eventually renovate the bathrooms and do double sinks in them. They're quite large, which is cool. But we'll wait on that. You can only spend so much money at a time. But it has been fun to create this unique experience. And I even feel like, I told somebody the other day, when you're telling a story in a space, and as you're cooking in the space, eating in the space, sleeping in the space, I almost feel like I'm living in a story, like living inside of a story, which is really cool. So anyways, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but that's, those are all my thoughts I wanted to say.
No, I love that. Yeah. I'm excited to do some type of form of an open house, or do a housewarming type thing for people to come and check out the story and how we lay that out too, for them to see it all in person.
Even for them to see a lot of the old pictures of like what it was.
Yeah, the before and after.
Because it's wild actually what it was.
It's a full 180 different of a space.
And it was beautiful what it was. It was fine. Like, it was great floors, open space.
Now it feels like ours, right? The story we're trying to tell.
Yeah. So thank you to all of you who prayed for us, encouraged us, recommended people to talk to.
Even some of those guys that have given like different gifts.
Yes. There are several people that donated to just our home renovations and things that we wanted to do. So we appreciate you guys.
Yes.
So that's the first update. Second update, moving on to Kendall graduating from MTC with a master's in Missional Theology.
Yeah.
Give it up for Kendall after 4 long years of intense study. Why don't you tell them about us going to St. Louis and all that, your graduation?
Yeah, so there's so much things to talk about. And so we decided to narrow it down to some of these things. And decided talking about graduation was one of them. I feel like when you think of me graduating, it's such a grandiose, big thing in your mind. But for me, I'm kind of like, like it was for me, it was 4 years, 4-year program, which is a while and a lot has happened in 4 years. But it being 4 years instead of like a 2-year program, like a lot of seminary programs are, it didn't feel as like intense and rigorous as other academic settings. And the way MTC is set up too, the program I am in, we were in someone's living room learning, where it feels more relaxed than this intense study and work environment. And so I feel like, I don't know, I still feel honored and this gladness to finally have my master's, but I don't know if I feel like, like it was this hard, rigorous academic thing that like was taking over my life. But I was glad to be done though still, and glad to move on to what's next and be finished with this this sweet and so much forming of a space that MTC has been for me. I'm glad to be done with it and use all that it's taught me. I think it's been such a sweet experience.
Yeah.
I started it before when I was at New City, and so the person I was then is different than who I am now. And a lot of it's to some of the things that the classes taught me there. And so definitely appreciate everything there, and appreciated our time going to St. Louis to the graduation, which was so cool.
Yeah.
I had such a sweet time going to Covenant Seminary, which is the school that we're connected with, which is in St. Louis. And so that's where I got to walk across stage and do all of that stuff. And so it was so fun checking out the barbecue, checking out the city with my family. We flew into Des Moines, Iowa, and then drove from there down to St. Louis. And from there is when we hung out at an Airbnb, ate good food. walked across the stage. It was such a sweet time. I had so much fun with my family. Yeah.
Some of the best.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of me going there too, I went there for Mother's Day weekend too, was for my family and for Mother's Day, because we had a Phoenix graduation too. And not many people from the Phoenix graduation are able to travel all the way out to St. Louis. But I'm like, well, my family's out there, and it's a big deal for my mom too to like see me walk across stage and for her to just be part of my graduation and all of that. So I was like, yeah, we'll fly out and we'll make a fun trip out of it too.
And for clarity, we flew to Iowa, but then all took a road trip to St. Louis is how we got there. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Drove down from Des Moines to St. Louis. And then, and then we had the graduation here in Phoenix, and that was a sweet time too, having some local friends and people celebrate, and people have been so kind, saying congratulations, sending letters, saying different things. And so it's been awesome feeling the love too and encouragement for you guys to keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited what's next, processing what I want to do for doctoral type work and all of that stuff, or another master's in something that would pair well with missional theology. And so, yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's great, babe.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
I know you see, it's funny to me how you see things like schooling as, I just, got a master's,
Yeah.
But to me, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know fully why, but it's just, I just know that it takes a lot of work to do that.
Yeah.
And I think too, because I witnessed you have a Wednesday night program at Neighborhood and get home at 9 or 10 and then have to wake up to be at seminary at 6 a.m. For years, for a couple of years once we started Neighborhood and did Wednesday night programming. And so it's just like, the toll it was on your body at times, but you just stuck in there and you did it. Just makes me proud of you.
Yeah.
You just stuck in there through all that, the difficulty and all that. But I know you also really enjoyed it too. So
yeah. Thank you, babe.
You're welcome. But moving to number 3.
What else?
Goodness. There's just so much,
There's so much.
But the third thing we wanted to talk about is just what's coming up and what's happening in the summer for Neighborhood, for Kaleo. So I don't know if you want to start, if you want me to start, of what's going on this summer.
You go for it.
Yeah?
You go first.
Okay, so for Kaleo, I feel like I should have thought about this a little bit more. But for Kaleo, overall, like things have been wonderful. Kaleo is a really special community to me, and the more that time goes on and the more crazy things that are happening in church spaces around us and in the world, the more I realize how special it is to have a community that is actively deconstructing together, but not in a hypocritical way. Because I have had this epiphany recently, which I did make a video about it, that when you are deconstructing, you can also be hypocritical about it, meaning that you can say that you are for women in the pulpit. You can say that you are for creating a safe space for all people, including the LGBTQ plus community. You can say that you are for caring for the margins of society and those pushed out and looked over. But if you don't embody that and you don't live in that and you still go to church spaces where that's not happening, you're living disconnected from your head and your heart. And some would say that you've abandoned yourself. But I'm really proud of doing community in a space like Kaleo where we are not living disconnected and we have not abandoned ourselves. And that's not to shame any other space or any other person for not living connected or in harmony with themselves. But I understand the chaos that perpetuates over time when you do live disconnected and when you believe something, but you participate and go into spaces with your body that are opposite of what you say and what you believe that you believe. And to like have been in a space consistently for a couple of years and have helped cultivate a space for other people to participate in that aligns with values that we say we care about is super meaningful to me. And I don't take that lightly. And I see like, man, that is beautiful. And that's a special impact. And to be able to do it with people like Neighborhood and collaborate together, I'm noticing that that's not easy for people to do too in community, is collaborate with other churches and other
fun Easter together. Neighborhood Kaleo Easter.
Yeah, that was a fun highlight of being able to do Easter with Neighborhood, and especially us being married, but also even if we weren't married, I still think that Kaleo and Neighborhood would be doing something together because we align and share spaces in so many different places. So that's kind of how Kaleo in a nutshell has been over the last several months. And then for this summer, we don't really have like super special plans except to incorporate Tina Estes a little bit more. She is a consistent worship leader at Neighborhood and spoke for the first time on Mother's Day.
She's awesome.
And did a phenomenal job.
Killed it.
Yeah.
She's incredible. And
I just think, if we're going to be a space that continues to platform women and develop women, and she's vocalized to us that she wants to be a woman, a worship pastor, and isn't necessarily able to do that in the spaces that she's in outside of Kaleo, because she worships at other spaces as a traveling worship leader. I don't know what to call it, but that's what she does. And I'm like, well, hey, if nobody else is going to platform you, then we need to be platforming her. Like if we say that we believe that, once again, let's not live disconnected, disimbalanced, unimbalanced, whatever the word is. Let's do it. And so she did a phenomenal job. We just like applauded her, encouraged her, and just said, we'd love to just keep you in rotation so that she can exercise that more. So I need to talk to Chris about like what dates can we give her and all those types of things. So we'll just see her more in addition to other people that we share the platform with too, because we share it with Emma Sonar, Emma Tautolo, who's on our board. We share it with you whenever those people can do it. So that's one thing. Two, because it gets hot in the summer, we don't eat together every other Sunday night outside because it's just too dang hot. So what we're going to do is something we did last year where we eat together only on the last Sunday of every month. And last year we ate at Neighborhood Ministries in the Sueños Youth Center. But this year, I think we're going to eat in Hope Hall, which is on the property of Grace Lutheran, and eat in there and basically still be on the Grace Lutheran property. So that'll be good because when we eat, that will just be the service. It won't be eating together and then also having a service. The service and gathering is the meal, which will be cool. And Kendall and I have been doing martial arts for almost a year or a little over a year. And Grandmaster, Grandmaster Khalid, is that what we call him? Grandmaster Khalid. He is phenomenal. And I tell you, when we take these martial arts classes, I be getting revelation from the way that he teaches us about the body and about how we embody things and what we're putting out into the world. And he knows so much science about the art of martial arts and Tang Soo Do. And so we've invited him to come and teach us at Kaleo and also lead us through some exercises, some martial arts. Fun. And so I did let him know it's going to be the last Sunday in August because there's a lot of other stuff going on for this summer. But yeah, hopefully that works for him. But that's something unique that we're going to be doing this summer. And also, one thing that just passed Memorial Day, someone from the church organized a camping trip for Kaleo over Memorial Day weekend. She did a great job.
So much fun.
We had a fun time. Not everybody could go the whole weekend, but she invited people to either stay the whole weekend or go up one of the days. And so we went up with a couple of people yesterday and took a road trip up to Flagstaff. We went into the Lava Riverhead. Is it Riverhead or River Trail?
Lava River Cave.
Lava River Cave. And it was much scarier and much harder than I anticipated. It was. I know you like to talk it down, and it was easy for Kendall, and he was like, it is easy.
It's not like other caves. It's
not scary. I've never been in a cave, okay? First of all, when we were walking down the cave, I was like, this is not a fully formed path. There are rocks everywhere, boulders that I'm climbing over. The rocks are getting cold. It's dark. There's ice forming. I'm like, what are we doing? Also, I had running shoes on. note to self, don't ever wear running shoes when you're climbing in a cave because you can feel all the rocks under your feet. So now I have like bruises under my feet, which is crazy. Yeah. But it was hard. It was hard. I was like, this is not easy to me. But it was still super fun. And I enjoyed being with the group that we were with and doing something adventurous because I enjoyed adventure. And it was still fun to do that and to make memories with folks from Kaleo and not from Kaleo, just friends of ours that are in community together. And so that was fun. And then we went to Upper Lake Mary after we got lunch at a little pizza joint in downtown Flagstaff, and just had a great time together. And it was a full day of travel and fun. And so thank you, Alexis, for putting that together. Yeah. Such a blessing. We love you.
Thank you, Alexis.
I appreciate you. And that's pretty much like what we have going on this summer. We are also putting together a mini course. That is really cool. It was actually suggested to us by Tyler Johnson, actually. He was the one that encouraged us to create this mini course of something we've been dreaming up for a while. So you'll hear more about that. But we'll be working fall. That'll be fun. We'll be working on that this summer. And then I feel like there's one more thing. Summer for Kaleo. Oh, Kaleo Stories is coming up this Sunday.
Kaleo Stories is coming up.
Yeah, and
that'll be good.
It's funny, they doing the Kaleo Stories because every time I go to do it, I'm like, okay, who are the other people of color that are at Kaleo? Because it's supposed to be people of color sharing their lived experiences with the community around a prompt word that we give so that we can continue to grow as beloved community together. But then I feel like, did I ask all the people of color? Like, who else is left? But lo and behold, every Kaleo Stories, there's more people to ask, you know? And so that's a blessing. We have Erica and True sharing. We have Treasure sharing. We have Valeria sharing from Cotazone, which is awesome.
To hear from all them.
Yeah, and she's going to be like painting while she's sharing. So I'm excited to do that and put a message. I don't really preach, but I create some type of teaching and guide people through the stories. And then I also want to leave space for people to reflect on their own story as well. So that'll be fun. So yeah, that's Kaleo. But what about you? What's happening at Neighborhood this summer? What you been
Neighborhood
up to?
Summer is always a fun time. Always a lot going on. This is, I think, my third summer at Neighborhood. And so I think by year 3, you kind of get everything that's going on, but this is also the summer where it feels like everything's kind of a post-COVID type thing.
Yeah.
And so it feels like, okay, we're back to like 300 or so kids running around the space, and how do we prep for it?
Yeah.
We only really have like this month to really kind of prep for summer because we're ending the falls or the spring semester while at the same time prepping for summer. And so we only get like a month where we're really solely focused on prepping for summer, and that's the month of May, kind of. And so after spring semester, got into gear and everything with planning and prepping, and you've been awesome help with that. Yeah. You've been helping coordinate dinners.
God came through.
Yeah, yeah, it all worked out really nice of finding everybody to help out with the dinners. With all of the high schoolers and college students who are like the volunteers for our 2-week day camp called Kids Club that we do. I'm the one who's kind of leading them and supervising them. And then we do this big dinner at the end of the day, each day of those 2 weeks. And we go to someone's house that has a pool. We celebrate there, eat together, and debrief the events of the day together. And so Erin was able to find someone to host us or someone to provide a meal every day, which is awesome. And Kaleo is actually going to help out with that one of the days during the summer too. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
I think we're going to do the worship night space.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Maybe at Emma's house, right?
Yep, may do the worship night at Emma's house.
Well, we're going to do the meal for it. That's what it was. Kaleo will do the meal at Emma's
and then it'll be at Emma's house. Yeah. So that'll be fun. Yeah. That'll be a good time. And then our internship started this past weekend. This like last week in May was when the internship started. And so that's when some 16 and up are able to apply for a paid summer internship at Neighborhood. And so we took in 16 people out of like maybe 22 or so applications that came in. Took in 16 people to come be interns with us this summer, and they're an amazing group. And it's been so much fun, great connecting with them. And
that is amazing that you have 16 interns this year.
Yeah, it's great.
That's
it's
the most,
huge help.
since you started Neighborhood, that's the most you've had.
Yeah, I think, again, if things are back how things were before COVID. I think it's been a while, though, since Neighborhood's had that many interns, even before COVID, but it kind of feels like, okay, we're back to how things were before.
Yeah.
Like, everything we do at Neighborhood is so relationship and so people-oriented that, right, COVID puts a real damper on things like that, and so it feels like we're out of that cloud now, finally. But, yeah, so it's great to have all those interns. We have a new kids director who started, she started, I guess, the beginning of, no, she started in the fall. She started in the fall of 2022. And so she's come in, so this will be her first summer. She's amazing. She's been planning and prepping and everything. Everyone's been like telling her, like, hey, be getting ready for summer, because it's such a huge time. It's such a big thing for us. And so she's an awesome. Majority of the interns that we have are her interns and people she's working with to help prep and get ready for the kids club event, and then also the kids camp event that happens in July, where we go up to Payson. And so, yeah, it's been awesome. My interns right now are focusing on our Flagstaff day trip that we do for the volunteers that are the high schoolers and college students are going to be helping out with the 2-week day camp kids club. We gather together up in Flagstaff and do kind of like a day camp ourselves. And it's kind of like a big icebreaker time for everyone to get to know each other, team building, bonding, all of that stuff.
That's next weekend, right?
That'll be next weekend. So that's coming up fast, finishing all the prep and planning for that. And then we do a training with them. The trainings are really awesome because we do a lot of collaboration and partnership with people in the city who do amazing training on trauma, on substance abuse, on healthy relationships, on civic engagement and justice. And so we just do a lot of partnerships with people in the city who are doing a lot of great work and are experts in different fields, and allow them just to share different things that hopefully benefit the leadership development and the health development, too, of the youth that we have over at Neighborhood. And so that's always fun, planning and prepping for those trainings and figuring out who to collaborate with in the city.
Yeah.
And so after that, we have the kids club event, and that's the 2 weeks fun. And so it's been great prepping for that, finding all of the amazing volunteers who can help van drive, and help make it happen, help the leaders, the high schoolers and college age students who are volunteering in the classrooms with the kids, help them be great.
Yeah.
Our goal is just to support them. So trying to find older adult volunteers to help support them has been fun. And finding the right people to do that too that's one of my things that I love, is like connecting with them. We call them bosses. Those older volunteers who are helping out, those bosses, and even seeing how the summer impacts them is always something that brings me great joy. And then, kids camp, going up to Payson with them, and that's with the 6th and 7th graders. And so
that's the second week of July?
That's like the third week of July.
Okay.
That we always go up there. And so that's always a fun time too.
That's like everybody's favorite thing. Like,
yeah, that's everyone's favorite thing. So we allow the high school and college student volunteers who are helping out with the kids club. Like, we choose 10 people from that group. There's like 60 of them. We choose 10 from that group who are like, okay, you guys can come up with us to kids camp just because you guys were outstanding leaders and outstanding volunteers for those 2K Kids Club. You guys come up with us to kids camp, and everyone wants to go up to kids camp. And so it's always fun bringing people up with us, and we have such a fun time doing games and eating amazing food together and dancing. It's just such a great time up there in Payson. Yeah. And so that's kind of the last thing that we always are like book in the summer with. And we know once kids camp happens, okay, you can take a breath, and then we have a month to plan for the fall semester. And so, it's going to be a fun summer. It's going to be a great summer because we have a lot of help with the interns, a lot of help with other volunteers coming in.
I'm so happy for that for you guys.
Yeah, so it should be a good summer.
That's awesome. That's pretty much all I had planned for our little agenda for today, but just wanted to.
Yeah, we'll get better at giving more updates now that we're finally moved into our house and settled and everything. And so we'll have to give
you'll hear
the
from
August
us.
Update and all that stuff.
Yeah, next month you'll hear from us for sure. Yeah. But as always, thank you guys so much for supporting us and partnering with us and participating by giving financially to the work that we're doing, which enables us to keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. And we're thankful for that.
So thankful for you guys.
Really thankful. Even if you don't give any more, but you gave at one point, you're probably still getting this just because we want you to know what you gave to and what you helped start and the work that you helped us continue to do. So we just thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Right? See you next time, y'all. Peace.